Okay, Norm, I'm making you the presenter. Should hear your voice and hope you remember how to share your screen.
Okay.
How are you today, Norm?
Can you hear me okay, Dale?
I can.
Hello?
I can hear you. I can hear you, and I see your notes up. So before you get started, your June 16 review, that GAN number 55 times 55, it ended up being the high of the move.
I know it's a high.
It inverted. You were looking for a low. It turned out to be a high. You always allow for things to invert.
Absolutely. But, I don't know that I was looking for a low there. I don't remember that. But,
well, it says it right there.
Anyway, maybe we should go through the little formalities here, saying good morning, Dale. Nice. Thanks for having me on your show.
You're very welcome, Norm Winski.
Right out. You might want to did you tell the folks who I am?
Norm is a guy who lives in Florida, who looks up at the sky and has been looking up at the sky for about 120 years, and was the original member on the Chicago Board of Trade when they traded wheat. Now, I'm kidding. Norm's a former options trader on SIBO. He's been doing astrological work since college. I've interviewed Norm probably 10 times in the last few years, and I pay attention to his dates for potential inflection points in the market. And he's someone that if you have an interest in this type of methodology, and a lot of people do, they do pay attention to planetary aspects, etc. Norm is a great teacher. So how was that?
That's pretty good, Dale. Let me just help a little bit. I've been studying the markets for over 50 years. I'm 66. I started studying the markets when I was 15, and I went off to college and I started investing and trading while I was in college, successfully making money, and used that money in 1975 to buy one of the early seats on the CBOE when it was a new exchange. Then right out of college there, I went to the CBOE, became a market maker, floor trader on the floor there, and did that for 12 years. And in the during that time, I also I was on the Board of Trade too.
Okay, buddy.
So I got a little bit of experience. I studied GAN and Astro, and Mr. GAN was an astrologer. If your folks don't know who Mr. GAN is, they should, because he was probably the greatest market technician of the 20th century. He was also an astrologer. That was his main thing, and then he used all these other techniques to fine-tune his trades.
Well, most people know about GAN is that he considered time more important than price.
Absolutely. I mean, just think about price. Is a price a high price or a low price? You don't know without time.
Exactly.
It's all relative to time. All right, I'm just going to review real quick. I was on here back on, I think, the 16th of June, and I mentioned some dates here for different markets, and we'll just go over that real quick here. Here's the stock market. This stuff is right out of my, as you know, Dale, right out of my July letter. Every month I review the previous month's results, show the forecast, show what happened. And so as you mentioned here, my market math, we had the 55 squared is 3,025 days from the major March 6, 2009 low. That came out the Saturday, June the 17th, and the next day, the first trading day after that, Monday the 19th, has been the high. That was pretty good. Also had some other things going on there. Well, let's look at those here. I had on my Dow Jones model, that's astrological analysis of turning points for the Dow Jones in the past. The way I get the results is I mark them right on the S&P chart. You might know this guy, Dale. He recently got into stocks.
He got where?
That's a little humor there. He got into stocks. You see that? The stocks.
Oh, yeah, the stockade, yeah. We'll let him out.
They called it stocks, actually.
We'll free him.
What's that?
We'll free him later.
There you go. Okay, so there you go. A D is Dow Jones, and Arrow's Astro. F is for Fibonacci time cycles. And so those things all lined up, and amazing to me, Dale, I have seldom been able to do this, but I hit 100%, 13 out of 13 timing dates, and they were all good.
Congratulations.
What do I call good? When you can, you get to the top of the channel like there, and if you go short, I think you have an opportunity to make money. If you buy on a pullback into one of my dates here, it reverses and goes up, and then you can make money. Here's HOM. This is the high of the month right there. That was my, I think that's got to be the 19th, the month, June 19th, you know.
Right.
Okay.
Right before the solstice.
All right, now we're going to move ahead here. Look at, oh, here I have if you know what Bradley is, Dale.
Yes.
Bradley model came up with the idea of quantifying the planetary movements and relationships, and then plotting them on a graph, and then you can forecast the market. Here's my version of that. And so I was looking, that blue line was the forecast done weeks in advance. I was looking for a mid-month high and then down. And so it was off at about a day or so. Okay, and if you fine-tune it with my other stuff there, then we land on Monday the 19th. Here's the biggest planetary events of the month. I like when my top thing is when the planets go what's called direct or retrograde. They stop momentarily due to the relative motion of the Earth. They don't physically do that, but on a relative motion basis, they do that. If you look out in the sky from Earth here, they look like they stop their motion in reverse direction, and that when the planets change trend, the markets change trend. Right? This was the 9th when it was also a full moon. You'll see how that affected some of the other markets. And that's the day the NASDAQ died. Remember that?
Yes, that was when
NASDAQ had its blow off top, and it's never been the same since.
Yeah.
That was when Jupiter turned direct.
Good point.
Yep. And over here
we have... You ever hear the expression, when the troops retreat, the generals will get slaughtered?
Absolutely. You know, that's one of the things we watch. One of the things that differ the stock market analysis from probably all the other markets is because the stock market has so many layers. You know, you have all this different analysis, and you can look at you got like you said, when the troops stay in the barracks and the generals go out to charge on the battlefield, they don't have much support. It's not going to be a good outcome, you know?
So it is kind of bearish, and NASDAQ's leading the way because I call them the troops.
I call that the bubble index.
Oh, okay.
You notice that the big extremes, who's leading the lemmings off the cliff? It's the NASDAQ, you know, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I say it. I thought when they were going crazy there with the so-called FANG stocks at the top, that was a sign that we were getting close to the end, you know?
Yeah.
Crazy valuations, you know. Generally near the top there in June, we were at value. The only thing more overvalued than where we were was 2000, you know?
Yeah, when anything that had a .com after it just went up.
Yeah, just in terms of, your price earnings ratios, valuations, we were very, very frothy, you know? Anyway, so that was my stock market forecast for June. Move ahead here. Here's T-bonds. And I have these dates here, and I think I was on here right around the middle of the month, and so we have a big cluster right around the middle of the month. Let's see what happened. Well, here's my green arrows here for the Astro points, and guess what? Right there, that would probably been about the 15th, I guess, 14th, 15th. That was the low of the month. Okay?
Yeah. And then the high you got.
And I got the high of the month, too, later on. Okay? So, stuff works pretty well. Here's the dollar. Much to my surprise, when I added up all my numbers for June through the first half of the year, my dollar forecast, I had the highest batting average of any of the markets I was doing, and I put more time in the stock market than anything. So I was surprised when I was doing better on the dollar than the stock market, you know. So anyway, here's the dollar. I know everybody out there is currency folks and likes the dollar. Look at, we had that low there. This is a miss, that little red arrow, believe it or not. I missed one. We'll pull back there. That was a date, and that was a good one. And then we had a couple of double 2 days right together there. It was a little topping area and so forth. And then we had a breakdown of the channel there. That was also one of my dates. Oh, right, up there. Yeah, up there. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you something real simple. Well, let's see. We have here's soybeans on page 4. And I had this is real simple. I have 3 dates. I believe this is near the full moon. No, the full moon was back on the 9th. I take that back. This is another date. This is probably some other things for beans. Mercury is a big deal with soybeans. Anyway, so I had 3 dates and I hit them all. I hit the high of the month there. And look at this. All the grains, if you've been watching the grains last few weeks, Dale, they all made a low. On Friday, June 23rd, I tell in my letter there, as you know, I have a section there just for grains, and it says that always watch the lunar cycle, the full moon, new moon.
Yeah, you've talked to them personally about it. What lit them up? A crop report?
No, what made them make a low there was a new moon.
No, I mean the big update. The big update we had.
I don't know. Some news. Who cares? All you got to do is.
Good answer. All right.
If you look at that stuff, you're just going to get
spoken by a true technician. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, really, if you have these timing here, and oh, the market's coming down in the new moon, you just buy it, and that's it. And then it goes up, and then we're getting ready for a full moon this weekend. That's one of the reasons I wanted eager to get on your show here and tell the folks that we're coming to full moon. A lot of these markets could have turns here over the weekend into Monday morning, Okay. So we have a full moon this weekend, okay? Here's crude oil. I was talking about crude oil when I was last on your show, and I had a big event then, and for some reason, I usually have a high batting average. I actually missed one here. Neptune was a big deal. It was a big deal for crude oil, and it was doing its thing, and the crude oil continued lower. I thought we might get a bounce off of that, but we didn't. So I only hit 2 out of 3 on the crude oil.
Yes. Okay.
All right, looking ahead here now. Here's what's that again?
No one's perfect.
Yes, sir. So looking ahead here now, one of the things I do is I cover about almost 30 markets in my letter. And so then when I get all the stuff lined up, I get to add up all the planetary astrological energy for all the different markets for the month and then rank them so that we don't end up trading something that's sleeping. We want to take you where the action is, Right? So number 1, stocks. Number 2, U.S. dollar. 3, T-bonds, so forth. So I'm going to only talk about the top market, take a sampling of these top markets here, the top 8 spots. So here's the stock market as of last night. We got down to the last line of support here is I think about the 2404 level, and now we're moving up because I guess I only knew this because I just talked to somebody a little while ago, and they had I guess they like the non-farm, whatever that is, the labor thing,
Oh yeah.
Whatever. So so that'll be forgotten by Monday, Right. So anyway, so I think we're going into a phase here, I think, because of the cycles, as I say here in my little paragraph, that into about Monday, Tuesday, maybe not later on Wednesday, we're probably going to whipsaw back and forth. I have massive cycles, both positive and negative, for the U.S. The U.S. cycles affect the U.S. stock market, T-bonds, and the U.S. dollar. So that's probably the general mode for all 3 of those markets is this kind of whipsaw area time when they kind of whipsaw back and forth, chop around. And then we should get a resolution by about Wednesday, and then all these markets are probably going to go into a big trend. I think I'm leaning toward, for the stock market, that's probably going to be down. Okay?
All right.
I think we're probably going to take out these lows, and we're going to be correction. If that scenario holds, and I'm correct, whichever way it goes, I think this is going to set up a massive turn, and I have the longer-term fractal forecast that I do, and that's got the biggest turn of the year coming in early August. And I got some massive change in trend points right there in early August, right around between the 3rd and the 7th of August.
So we could go down into August, look for a low maybe.
Yep. Then if that model is right, you could have the potential to make your entire year in a few weeks. That'd be pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now we got the dollar here. Here's your key dates there. You might want to write these down. We've been working very well. I got the 10th. That's Monday, and then I got Wednesday is a super date because it's underlined. As I said, we kind of are in a cluster where we have several dates all together. You saw how that worked before on the T-bonds, where it kind of consolidated there in a cluster and then took off. So 13, and then we have another super window, Friday the 14th to Monday the 17th. Then we have a time gap here where we don't have anything until the 24th. So likely we'll get a pretty good trend between about the 17th and the 24th.
I have a question. I have a question from Mike Caruna. August has similar alignments to 1929 and 87 with Saturn direct in Sagittarius. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know. I was not able to research that before I came on. I didn't know that question was coming.
Well, either did I, but maybe you could, something to take a look at.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Saturn's been going direct and retrograding direct several times over the last several years in Sagittarius.
Okay.
What I like to look at is when the planet goes stationary and then changes. We had that, let's see, I forget when I think that happened a couple months ago. All right, anyway, here's your dollar dates, and there's your dollar chart. And my first date of the month was July the 3rd. Let's go look at that. There's July the 3rd. That was on the low actually came on Sunday night, July the 2nd. That was a little retest of that bottom right there. And then the market took off. Here's your T-bonds. I had July the 3rd for the bonds also. That's probably a U.S. cycle thing. And they did make a temporary low there on Monday the 3rd, and then they went into a kind of wedgie consolidation, and then they broke down yesterday, So bonds not looking so good,
Yeah.
We got the next date to look for is the 12th, and then the 17th. Here's the corn. If you don't want to use your Dale, if you don't want to use your brains, trade the grains. I think this is about the easiest group of markets there are, because they love the moon. Here is corn. Here is June. There's June the 8th. The next morning was a full moon. I think 9:30 in the morning on the 9th was a full moon. There's the high. Guess what? There's the low, June the 23rd. That was the new moon at perigee. That's like a super moon,
Yeah.
When it lines up with the apogee
So
and
it might be making a high early next week with the full moon, huh?
Right, exactly. The full moon is on Sunday.
That was a great trade on the full moon low down there.
What's that again?
Or the new moon low. That was a great buy down there. That's $5,000. That's $5,000 a contract in a week.
Yeah. Well, let's see. That's like 408 roughly to about 376. Is about, was that about 30 cents roughly? So
okay.
$1,500.
Oh, I thought it said 374 to 480.
No, 408. You switch the digits. It's 408.
Okay.
Yep. So anyway, we move up here today on the grains. That could be a good setup to go short again,
Okay.
And now, and one of the reasons I've got gold here for the future is because I have some cycles lining up here for the middle of next week, when is that? Yeah, middle of next week. The Mars cycle, it was pointed for a top in silver on the 5th of June, and if you go look at your silver chart there, it topped the next day, and it's been down ever since. So now the Mars cycle is doubling up. That was I think a geocentric thing from the point of view of the Earth. Now we have both heliocentric and geocentric Mars, both pointing at gold and corn. These are second cousins astrologically. There's a connection there between their cycles. Believe it or not, there's a connection between corn and gold.
Same color.
And so, what's that? Well, yeah, I don't want to give away any secrets. You got to take my class, Dale.
Well, they're the same color, buddy.
You're like Jimmy Stewart, the man who knew too much,
All
All right, there we go, corn. And so anyway, so I'm expecting some big things, a big convergence, starting next week. It's like a whole week off and on for a week, culminating on the weekend of the, actually that's the week of this, I got a week ahead of myself. That's the week of the 17th, sorry about that. The week of the 17th, and then we have a big culmination around the 21st weekend for the gold, okay? There's my big highlighted 21st. You see that with the underline and stars around it, you see?
Yes.
All right, and then moving ahead here now. Do your people ask questions?
Yeah, I think that was the only questions.
Okay. Anyway, this stuff looks complicated, Dale, as you know, but you know what? When you get used to it, it looks like, stuff from from another planet, to use a bad pun. But it's really, nothing here is over a 5th grade level. So they can learn all about it and get my letter for free and a free class. I mean, I got, like I said, about 50 years of market experience, and I've been studying all this stuff for a long time. And be happy. I got a 5-hour free 5-hour class, basically cram a whole college education for trading into about 5 hours, and it'll show you how to use my letter. It's like having power tools. So no need to look at a market until it's time to look at that market. That's the beautiful thing about this approach. The MICE system tells you when to look at a market, and then what markets to look at and when to look at them. So there's no need to look at gold. Well, we might get a short-term turn here in the gold over the weekend because of the full moon. The moon acts on the precious metals too on a short-term basis. But in the bigger picture, it says, wow, the gold has not been on my monitor list for quite a while until this month. And so that tells you when and where to look. That saves you a lot of time.
And aggravation.
So anyway, you have the, what's that?
And aggravation.
And a lot of aggravation, a lot of getting stopped out on noisy trades and stuff. Usually shouldn't be, So I have the free letter, the free class, and I'm looking forward to helping some of your folks there, Dale. I'm here in beautiful Naples, Florida, and you can call me at 239-594-3939. And there you can take a screenshot of my contact info there, or Winski at embarkmail.com is my email, or you can call me on Skype at norm.winski.
Thank you so much, Norm, for updating us. Nice calls last month, and I'll be paying attention to that gold date. So,
okay, great.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. We'll trade you more. Huh?
I know you're all booked up, but if you get a cancellation or something in a couple of weeks, for a couple of weeks, I'd be happy to come back on and update what the gold is doing and some of these other things are doing.
Okay. All right, buddy. I'll be in touch. Have a great weekend. Everyone thank Norm Winski. You have an interest in this type of perspectives on the market. He's one of the best. So
thank you very much, Dale.
So, he has a lot of knowledge if you have an interest in this. So could really speed up your learning curve when it comes to paying attention to the heavens. So,
by the way, let me just comment that my letter includes not only Astro, but I'm doing advanced Fibonacci. I'm doing fractal, so you get to learn all those techniques, and all for free. And it's all free.
Yeah.
And if they mention your name, Dale, not only it'll be free, I'll give them a money-back guarantee.
Okay, there you go. That's riskless. You can't find riskless any more than that. So have a great weekend, buddy. Thank you, Norm.
Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend. Thanks, bye.
Too. All right, and thank you, F.A.C.E, and thank you, Steve, and Stelios, and Nick, and Grega. And who did I forget? I don't think anybody.
How do I get out of here?
You just leave. You could
okay.
You just, like the king leaves the building. And
all right, have a great one. Thanks, bye.
Blake will be back Monday, everybody. So things could only get better. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. You're very welcome, Morrow, Kevin. Take it easy.
I'm having trouble getting out of here, Dale.
Don't worry about it. Everyone's gonna be leaving at the same time.
All right.
Have a good weekend. See everyone Monday. Adios.